Hi everyone, this is Kathleen.
And I am Nick, and welcome to this latest episode of About Time.
So as you may have noticed, I'm not normally, I'm not hyper today. Well, it is because our topic for today is very sensitive, and we want to make sure that we will be able to reach out to as many as we can. And it's because this is something that we strongly agree that it's about time that we talked about it. It's like what I said. It's a very sensitive topic, even for me and for Nick. It took a lot of guts, a lot of courage for the two of us to finally decide and start to share our personal experience and be vulnerable for a bit so that we can actually reach out to you and let you know that this is something that we would like to share awareness. But of course, I also would like to make a disclaimer that we're not saying we're experts in this field, but we just want to create awareness that this is something that we shouldn't take lightly, and it shouldn't be taken as a joke as well. A lot of people suffer from this, and we want to make sure that we can help. Nick and I decided to start About Time specifically because of this type of topic or this kind of issue. We want to make sure that we can create a positive impact to everyone that can or that will watch this video. So, Nick, please share with us or with our viewers what is our topic for today.
Okay, but before I proceed, I'd like to ask a favor for everyone to get a pen and a paper or anywhere you can write on and answer the questions I'll ask. The first one is, have you ever felt lonely? This is answerable by yes or no, but if, of course, it's a yes, the answer this next question, which is, do you know where it is coming from? And again, if it's a no, it's okay. But if it's a yes, go ahead and write that down and express how did it feel. Second one would be, if your answer to that question was yes, have you tried talking to anyone about it? If it's a no, why? If it's a yes, um, the question would be, when did you learn that you were ready to talk about it, and how did it actually help? And as you answer those questions, we'll have a normal conversation about this topic. And again, as what Kathleen said, this took us a lot of thinking. And we had to talk about it a lot of times to identify what are the things that we want to share with everyone and learn what are the safest way to relay the message and to achieve our goal for today. And so I'd like to start it by asking Kath, will you share us how do you define loneliness, and if you've ever felt that?
Well, for me, loneliness is when you feel like you're trapped, and it progresses from there where you would start to think that everything doesn't make sense anymore. Like whatever you do is is not good, and it also for me it became like I everything doesn't make sense anymore.
Mm-hmm.
In it, yes, I did reach that part. And what made me realize that I'm feeling that way because it came to a point where I would wake up and wouldn't know what am I experiencing and couldn't really express what is it. And it also reached to a point where I simply don't want to go home. I would just sit, and then tears would just run, and I really don't know what's happening. So yeah, I would say I did experience that. And there's a lot of definitions that I can express it. But what about you, Nick? What is loneliness for you? And if you also felt it, if there was also a time in your life where you felt lonely.
Yeah. Well, to answer the first question, I did. A lot of times way back. Then that was when I was starting working. And as I work, there would be a lot of times when I would feel that I was alone. In achieving certain goals, right? Because every year, every month, every day it changes, and if there would be time na I'd feel I was the only one trying to achieve it for myself, and everything is just not um, going the way how I expect it to be. I'd feel lonely. There would be times that I when I wake up in the afternoon to go to work, I feel so energetic and very ready to work. And then I'm able to complete the shift, let's say, and then as I go home, it I just feel it, right? And then so that this is the answer um to the question, which
What
is
is loneliness to you?
yeah, where
What
this is coming from.
definition?
Just like what you said earlier,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you don't know where it is coming from. Everything was just feeling very okay, and then eventually by the end of the day, for me, I'd feel that something isn't the same. Something is wrong,
And
and I don't know what to do
to
about it.
clarify this, Nick,
Um,
somehow it becomes kind of like a result because you feel you weren't able to achieve a certain goal that you have in mind, and the loneliness tends to be the result of, or the feeling
mhm.
because of
Yeah,
something
like
that
the
you weren't able
outcome.
to. Okay.
Right. And then there's a lot more. I mean, maybe this is when I just realized maybe where they were coming from. And because loneliness is really subjective. And then that's just the way how you would want to define what you were feeling that way, because there's no other word, that you can use to
Right.
express how you were feeling. It could be also, for some, it could be because of their own expectations not being met. The sense of belongingness, other needs, the lifestyle that they want for themselves that they're not able to have, that
Right.
could make them feel that way as well.
Right. Somehow, like feeling trapped through can be defined as part of being lonely, or that feeling of loneliness is because you feel like there's nothing that you can do, like you're pushing yourself or you're fighting against a wall, and whatever however hard you try to fight against it, there's really nothing that you can do, and that would actually make you feel even, well, frustrated because it's as if there's nothing that you can do. So that's, I guess, that's part of it.
Mhm. And it's really sad, because I hated that feeling. I don't think people like to be feeling that way. As much as possible, I still try to make myself feel better, but it's hard because you'll have that feeling of you being empty, of you really being alone, and really lack of connection. And so sometimes you feel stuck too. Um, and it all just adds up and it makes it worse, right? Okay. So the second question that we asked for you to answer would be, have you tried talking to anyone about it? And I think this is applicable to the answers that we both gave, Kath,
Mhm. Yeah,
when we said that we experienced it. And so
yeah.
I want to throw the question to you. Have you tried talking to anyone about it?
Well, actually, the answer for me is both yes and no. At first, it was a no, a big no for me. Well, I know that we have a lot of friends who are watching our videos, but to those who does not know us, just to let you know, or to give you something, a piece Our personality. Nick and I are both, we both have a strong personality. Nick is more of like the serious, strong type of individual. I, on the other hand, I also am strong and the jolly type of person. And if you have watched our previous videos, you can see that I'm really happy and I tend to put that smile on my face every time that I would try to speak with a lot of people. I want to show them that I am the right person that they can go to, that they can reach out. So when I first I guess I can say that the first stage of my loneliness, I really didn't like to discuss it with anyone, even with my closest friends, because of I'm afraid that I will be seen as a weak person. And for me, vulnerability is something that I I really didn't like because of the stigma that I am a strong individual and I can fix it. And if people would go to me to seek help, to seek advice, because they believe that I can help them, that I'm the right person to actually give suggestions or recommendations that would fix their issues, and then suddenly there would be like a 180 degrees where I'm no longer that person. So I didn't like that, and somehow I wanted to protect that image that I'm a
Mhm.
strong person, and it was uncomfortable for me to share it. Another reason why I didn't uh, share it at first, even if it's already reaching to the stage two, again, I'm only using the stage of that emotion. It's because when there was a time when I kind of had a bit of courage to try and share it to someone I know, one of my closest friends, and the moment I start to talk and share what am I feeling, I get an instant block, and the person that I talked to made me feel that what they're experiencing is worse than what am I feeling and experiencing. And it's never you can that's something that for me I strongly disagree. We No one can actually tell you that what you're feeling right now is invalid, and that what you're going through right now is just a small piece that is something that you should disregard, because we all experience sadness, loneliness, feeling of empty, and we simply want to belong. And we it may sound different or similar, or sorry, it may sound similar to my experience and their experience, but it doesn't mean that how I'm dealing with it is the same as how they will deal with it. So that's something that for me was very insensitive, if I may use a word, because again, I
Mhm.
that person wasn't in my shoe, and I like what I mentioned earlier. It took a bit of courage for me because again, my personality is really strong. So when I received that kind of response, it made me feel that okay, so what I'm experiencing right now is really a simple thing, and I shouldn't really deal with it. I should disregard it. I should forget about it. And I'm such a weak person to feel this way, not knowing that it added to it gets worse from there, because then I started to feel like I'm losing emotions, that I can no longer feel something. And it was frustrating for me at first, and it's like it came to a point where I didn't want to talk to a lot of people, even to my friends. I didn't want to talk with any one of them. It's because again, I'm afraid that I would be blocked again, or that they wouldn't listen, because my intention really was so that someone will hear me. I just want to be heard. My intention was I just want you to listen to me and to hear me out. And yes, I may be venting, but I just want to unload the baggage that I have. And it's very innate for us human beings. We, especially for us Filipinos, that we tend to, when someone would share us their problems or their feelings, our one of the reactions that we would do, or the responses, is that we would try to figure a resolution or solve it for them. When a lot of times people who are feeling lonely, they just want to be heard. They just want someone to listen to them,
Mm-hmm.
because people would tell you if if they can't resolve it. So that's the time I think that we can say it. But if they're just there to share, to vent, then I think it's the right time for us to learn to simply listen, to just be there and support the person. And so when it reached to a certain point where I feel like um, I no longer want to go home, and it 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 made me feel like I'm dragging myself out of the bed just to simply wake up, and not knowing where it's coming from, because it added to a lot of things that I'm going through in my personal life. And then when I couldn't really handle it anymore and I really don't know what's going on, I think my breaking point where I realized that I needed to talk to someone was, I was about to go home, and as I was riding the train, or I was riding the LRT or the train, I suddenly cried without any reason. There was no trigger at all. I suddenly just burst out of tears. For I didn't know how to handle it during that time. So um, that's when I start to think, okay, I need, someone needs to hear me, and I'm very fortunate that the time that I if I really feel that I needed help, I I, I accepted the fact that this is something that's beyond my control, and I really feel the need. I really feel the need of support. I was very fortunate that I have a mentor where she's always there to listen to me and to really just ask questions and to understand how am I feeling. And she was the person that I was able to share what I'm going through that time in, and it was refreshing that finally I was able to share it to someone, and that's that's when I finally understand what am I really going through, if my feelings are valid or not. And that's when I realized that all our feelings are valid, and we shouldn't just simply disregard it just because we wanted to protect a certain image. And I guess a lot of us are being seen as a strong individual, but it shouldn't. It's hard. It took a lot of courage. That's what I can say. So yes, I was able to share it with someone, but like I said, it really took a lot of courage for me. If that happened to me, Nico, I now I'm kind of curious to know if you also experienced the same thing.
Yes, absolutely. But may I just say that you really mentioned a lot of valid points, and I just admire how much courage you have right there. That finally you're able to decide that it's something that you are ready to talk to anyone about. Um, and when you were talking about the stigma, I think that's really the biggest problem, because that's what also stopped me from wanting to talk to people about it. And maybe one of the misconceptions people have is that when you have a lot of circle of friends, you won't feel it, right? If you have a lot of friends, you won't feel lonely, but that's actually wrong. Because it's not the quantity really. it's the quality that you get to spend with them. And really, as I was saying earlier, when you're wanting to achieve a certain goal, not for you, but for let's say for that set of friends, and you feel that you're the only one who's trying to achieve it, then you also feel. I tried reaching out before, but knowing that, as what Kathleen said, I have a very strong personality, and so people would assume that I can handle problems, difficult situations, and I feel like it. I feel like also have to I have to resolve my own problems. And so that also became a hindrance for me to speak to people about it, because I don't want them to see me as a weak person, and I just really want to protect that image that I have, which was actually wrong, right? um, and so it came to a point when I felt that I'm not able to fix it myself. Then I made a lot of thinking, really, and decision making, and make myself want to talk to people about it. But it also wasn't easy, because when you were feeling so ready to talk to people about it, but the people who you would be sharing it with would not actually be the right people to talk to, then it wouldn't actually help at all. Just like what Kathleen mentioned about listening. Um, People, when you talk to the wrong person about it, let's say, they could say things like, "It's all in your mind. You can do it. Make yourself busy until you don't feel that anymore," which isn't helping, really. And so you would give yourself time to think about it again and say, maybe this isn't really a problem. Maybe this isn't really a valid feeling, right? Until it, and then it just prolongs the feeling, and you get to think again, maybe this time i've I have finally found the people who I can talk about this with, and I did. And so it made me ready, and so when I was able to let it out, it actually made me feel better.
Right. And really understanding, we're not saying that you should have, you should choose your friends. I mean, I still have the same friends that I have even before. It's just that I know who are my set of friends when it comes to really just chilling and really just have a good time, and also to identify who are the people that I can talk to in terms of deep conversation. I think that's also what happened to Nico. So somehow, as you can see, just like what I mentioned earlier, we may think that we have similar situations and that what is happening to me, something that is applicable to everyone. What we're trying to say is that you really can't tell who is going through a lot of things. So, sometimes really just trying to listen to that person when they're trying to reach out to you. They're a lot of times they're just there to really just unload the baggage, unload that feeling that's weighing them down, and there, just listen.
Correct. And what going back to knowing the right people to talk about this with, because not all, it's hard because not all are well educated about this mental health problem, right? Some actually have this perspective that it's a way for you to become self-sufficient. What Well, in fact, it's wrong. And really, that stigma, there's a lot of types of it, which could be the stereotyping, discrimination, social exclusion, rejection, and labeling, that you're
Right.
different, and that these are all perceived, these are all anticipated and experienced. And so when you overthink of this is what's happening in the society, that when you express your feeling, they may tell you nah, you have an invalid feeling. They may say that um, you're using it as an excuse to not be responsible, to avoid your responsibilities, could be at work or at home, and it just sends really a negative message to you who's feeling it, and you would think twice if are you actually using it as an excuse, or those things come in your head, and it makes it
Yeah.
worse.
And you will start to suddenly doubt yourself and thinking
Right.
what is really happening. And I think even in our culture, I guess not just in our culture, but in I'm not saying that all cultures are experiencing this. But what I'm trying to say is that because there is a fine line between um, loneliness or really feeling just you're sad or you're lonely to depression, where it's actually a mental health issue or it's a mental health, it's a sickness. We tend to think that, oh, that person is sick, that person is incapable of doing things, and they need to seek a psychiatrist or psychologist. They need to be in a mental institution. We tend to overthink a lot, not realizing that there are a lot of um, it's a broad. Um, we're not experts, and what we're trying to say is that if this is something that you've been experienced for or feeling for a very long time, and you feel that talking to your friends is still not helping, then understanding and accepting that there's something that you need to do about it, and you need to seek, professional help. Something that you also need to understand.
And that's the purpose is to really help yourself become better.
Right.
um, there could be things that you get advice of, from your family, from your friend. If it isn't working and that it's not making you feel at least a bit better, then there's something that you need to do more than that. And again, to this conversation that we have is also to ask for everyone to help each other, to end the stigma.
Right.
That when someone observe or someone talk to you saying that they're feeling this way, and you know that it's not usual that people would feel, go ahead and extend your hand in helping them in however ways,
Right.
right?
And
You're not obliged or required to tell them how they can overcome it, but the best thing you can do is to listen and show your support to at least make them feel better.
right. And I like that you mentioned that to really just check in with the people that surround you, because a lot of times this what we think that these are the strongest people we're with, and they're always happy, and this person doesn't have an issue. The quiet ones or the loud ones, the strong ones would normally feel this way. It's because they feel just like our personal experience. We feel that there's an image that we need to protect, or the feeling that we need to protect our circle of friends or our family, that we cannot be weak. I cannot show vulnerability or any type of weakness just because my family relies on me, my friends relies on me, and I'm happy, or they see me as a happy person, so I need to maintain that. um it doesn't hurt to ask those people. It doesn't really hurt to simply just talk to them and ask them how are they feeling. And to let you guys know, this is one of the biggest reasons why Nick and I really decided to collaborate. It's because we both have the same intention of reaching out. We're not just doing this just because we want to get popular, or we want to be liked by a lot of people that we know or we don't know. It's more of us because we personally experience it. And we both know that it's not happening it's not just happening because there's a pandemic that's going on right now, but it can happen with or without a certain or a global crisis like this. It can happen anytime. And that's why Nico asked those questions, because writing your answers to those questions would help you understand, okay, if I'm not feeling it, then this is something that can actually help you understand the people that is surrounding you, your loved ones, your family, your friends. If you notice something is different, maybe, oh, hold on, what's going on? Maybe it's about time that I might be able to help. And if you think that you're not the right person, then at least let them know that you're there. Because
Mhm.
sometimes the feeling that there's someone there, there's another person that is rooting for you, is a great help already. It keeps that person, it will keep that person going, to simply know and feel that there's someone out there rooting for them.
Right, and let's accept it. I hate to break this, maybe, but we most of us would go through it. If you have not encountered this, I'd say there'd be that time that you'd feel this way. And it's important that if and especially if you have not experienced this, that you try to learn already how you can try to reach out for support, or if ever that you're done experiencing this, then at least um, make yourself available
Right.
to listen, make yourself available to help, especially your loved ones. They may not be as expressive as they should be, but when you have that instinct, use that, and ask. There again, as what Kathleen said, it won't hurt you to ask how they are doing, if they're feeling okay, and really make sure that when they answer they're fine, try to ask it again. Try to ask if they're sure, because maybe on that second question is when they will tell you that they aren't actually okay, and that at least you guys can talk about it and try to see if you guys can work things out to make it better.
And if not, again, never be afraid to actually seek out with the professionals to know how they can help you. Because if your loved ones aren't the right people to actually help you and support you, understanding that there are also professionals out there in this field that can guide you and really try to help you express your
Yeah.
feelings, and then help you move out from from that if I may say, dreadful feeling, because it's
Mhm.
never easy, and it's never okay to feel that way, to wake up and would just feel like you don't like waking up,
Mhm.
you don't want to wake up, and moving to that stage where you don't feel like you don't want to wake up anymore. And that's something that I think that no one should actually feel that way, that they simply don't want to wake up anymore. That's a very sensitive topic.
Mhm. Correct. And not only by waking up, you don't want to feel that before you go to sleep, right? Because it will give you a hard time. And because that's a time for you to rest, it's a time for you to give your mind time to rest and just not think about anything. And if you're gonna feel that before your um, before your sleeping time, then it wouldn't actually get the rest that it needs for you to um, be ready for tomorrow.
Right.
So there.
So what's our second question, Nick? Or I guess, um, have we answered all of the questions that you gave to our viewers?
Yeah, but maybe if you just want to add how if when there was a time that you were able to talk to people about it, maybe you want to add and share to them how it actually helped you from that point until now.
Mm. Well, when I guess when the time or when that day arrived and I was so eager to share it to my mentor, who's also a very close friend of mine. It wasn't easy because I still have that thought that I need to judge, or they may see it differently, or maybe what I'm feeling is invalid. But then after I shared it, I felt really good that I was able to that someone hear me and was able to listen to me, not because they're there to judge me and to tell me that what I'm experiencing isn't real. How did it help me? Well, after
Mhm.
that, I was able to move because again, I was able to load the baggage. It helped me move from one point to another because that feeling of loneliness, it would keep you stuck in one place and it's not going to help you move forward. If you have a certain goal, you being productive in work, in your personal life, it's not, everything would be so challenging that you would give a reason to everything, that there's always a problem for everything, and you wouldn't be able to see the other possibilities that you can do. So it helped me, um how do I say this, it helped me make a better decision in my life. It helped me understand that I am not the only person experiencing this. It helped me understand that if I will not take care of my health, my mental health particularly, then it would it it's it's not going to have a huge impact on my health, but in my personal life, in my work life, everything will be affected. So it's like kind of like a ripple or a domino effect. Everything will get affected, and it's not it's not healthy. And that's when I finally realized that, oh, okay, because just to quickly share, I have been wanting to learn yoga for the longest time. Meditation is something that I never really want to talk about or try because before I have this thinking that meditation is just something that you don't need to think, or you just have to be still. It's a waste of time. But then after I shared it with after I was able to share it and finally realized that maybe this is something that I can try, maybe it will help. I started with a 5 minute meditation. Let me tell you
Mhm.
how it created a positive impact in my life. It helped me to see things differently. It helped me in a way to understand other people better. And I was able to compare my experience when I wasn't sharing my emotions, my baggage, when I wasn't able to unload it at first. How was I communicating with the people that I work with my loved ones, compared to when after I unload the baggage and then I tried to meditate. I tried to um, help myself, like a deeper conversation with myself. That's when I noticed the huge difference, the positive impact it created in my life. That's when I also made a decision to create my personal account in YouTube to set intentions and to really share that because I experienced it, and because this is something that helped me, I simply want to share it with everyone. Another thing that helped me after I shared it was I started to write journals. So when I'm not feeling good, that's when I would write it in my journal. It helped me a lot because it made me see what is happening with me. It helps me identify what am I really feeling, and what's the reason behind that feeling, and what am I going to do with that. So so that's that's I guess what happened. It's never, it will not hurt you to try something that can actually help you. I mean, when I started meditation, I tried it for 5 minutes. I'm encouraging you to try it at least 5 minutes and then try it for 3 days. And simply just try to write down, well, how are you feeling before you started the meditation? And how are you feeling after that meditation? Really try to see for yourself how it will help. If it's not for you, then it's okay because that's just 5 minutes of your time. And it's okay to slow down for you to know and understand how are you going to help yourself be better, be the best version of yourself, so that you can be also an example and a help to someone who also needs you in the future. So that's what worked for me. What about you, Nico? How did it help you, or what helped you?
When I started reaching out, it helped me feel better because I know that that there are people who support me. That sense of comfort that I'm able to receive from them makes me feel it less. It also helped me boost my self-esteem even more, and really know understanding that a lot of people go through it, and a lot of people have overcome it, makes me feel confident that everyone can actually survive this stage of their lives. And it helped me because I also wanted to help myself.
I think we both realize that it's not really a sign of weakness, because for the two of us, we saw it as a sign of weakness before, that made us, you know, really, it, it's it wasn't helping us in the first stage, where it was challenging for us to share it with the people that we're close, or yeah, that we're close with. The reason why I'm saying it's not a sign of weakness, it's because again, it took a lot of courage to do it. And somehow, I think related to what Nico shared, this is something that we talked the past couple of, or the past, I think the last 2 days, that we were talking about it and really, really digging deeper to how are we going to relay the message to everyone. It's because when you finally experience it, and like what we said, Nico and I personally experienced it in different levels, and we now learn how, what are the things that help us, how we feel, and we don't want everyone to feel that way, because we know that you guys are stronger than you think. And somehow this helped us really build that intention that we want to help out, that we're not just here for your likes, for your subscriptions. We are really extending our hands to everyone. You may not know me, you may not know Nico, but you send us a message if you feel that there's something that you just need to let out, and you need someone to hear you out. We are truly offering ourselves to everyone. We're here to listen to you, and if if we're not the right people to help you in your situation, we will tell you, and we will still try our best to, look for the right people that can actually help you in your situation, because this this the depression, mental health is something that we shouldn't take lightly. It's a very sensitive topic that a lot of people are disregarding, and it's not right to do that. It's not right to do that. So I I like to commend Nico because it took a lot of courage for him to express himself today. So good job, Nico, and thank you for sharing that to us.
Thank you as well for the thoughts that you brought up today. I hope that this helped, and I hope that this brings everyone that encouragement that we're wanting you to have. That it's okay to talk about it. It's okay if you'll take time to think if you want to talk about it, and identifying or learning who you want to speak this with, because again, it's not an easy decision to make, and we just want to make sure that when you finally make a decision, it's for the best,
Right,
and that you won't have regrets after.
right. And so before we end this video, I would like to share two quotes that actually resonates our message to everyone today. So the first one is, you carry so much love in your heart, so make sure to give some to yourself. And the
Yeah,
second
like
one, yeah, the second one is, communicate even when it's uncomfortable or uneasy. One of the best ways to heal is simply getting everything out. Those are the two quotes that I would like to share with everyone today.
right. And for me, I won't have quotes to share, but I hope that this video is something that you find helpful. Again, we're very much available. If there's any, go ahead and speak with us, and we'll try to see how we can go from there.
Right. And to also encourage everyone, yes, you can subscribe and click the like notification and the bell notification button. We These are the types of discussion or topics that we would like to share with everyone. And so we want to make sure that every time we post our videos, you'll be able to get notification. So click that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click that notification button too, to make sure every time that we post, which happens every Monday, you'll get to watch our both our face and listen to topics about life and other ways that we can actually help you. So again, it's me, Kathleen.
And I am Nick, and it's about time to say goodbye and see you again next week.
I've been trying